You are watching the CGC show on AAETV. AAETV is the voice of higher education in Africa. We are coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities, Accra, Ghana, and I am your host, Taja Onu. The show is proudly brought to you by the Association of African Universities. Do well to follow our social media platforms at AAU_TV on Twitter, Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube, and at AAETV Official on Instagram. Today's episode is quite a special one as we have guests coming in all the way from Zimbabwe to help us discuss the topic media as a tool for development. Please stay with us. I'll introduce them after the break.
From the fountain of our collective heritage comes the great Zimbabwe University, a center for learning and innovation with a niche in arts, culture, and heritage studies, which are integral parts of higher education. Enrollment is in progress for degree programs at Great Zimbabwe University. The following entry requirements are needed for suitable candidates. Normal entry: 5 O-levels including English and at least 2 A-level passes. Mature entry: 25 years of age, 5 O-level passes including English. Special entry: a diploma in the appropriate field that you want to study. Master's programs are also available for the April and July intakes. Pay a $20 application fee and complete the application form. Attach certified copies of educational certificates, academic transcripts, birth certificate, national ID, and marriage certificates where applicable. Application forms may be downloaded from the university's website www.gzu.ac.zw. For more information, visit our website or our Great Zimbabwe University Facebook page or call us on the following numbers. Come and enroll today at your university of choice.
If you just tuned in, you are watching the CGC show on AAETV. And like I said earlier, my guests are already seated and they came all the way from Zimbabwe to tell us or help us discuss the topic media as a tool for development. On my immediate left, I have Jasper Maposa, who is a lecturer at the Great Zimbabwe University. And I also have Golden Maunganize. I don't know if I got the name right, but I have Golden Maunganize, who is also a radio director from the Great Zimbabwe University. Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
I'll start with you, Jasper. Tell me, why are you guys in Ghana?
We are in Ghana
Yeah.
as a team representing Great Zimbabwe University.
Okay.
And Ghana is historic for us because of the role it played in the independence of other countries. And also remember, it got it independent way before us. So we believe that we've got a lot to learn from Ghana because of that historical background that I've given you. So we have come to find ways of establishing and sustaining synergies that are of mutual benefit to Ghana and to Zimbabwe. So we are on an experiential learning process for our radio station, campus radio station for Great Zimbabwe, which is at its incipient stages. And we believe that we cannot reinvent the wheel, but the best that we can do is to take a leaf from others. We have done something, and we go and improve our establishment of the radio station, because we can avoid falling into pitfalls that other pioneers have fallen into. We have the University of Ghana. It has got its radio station. Here we are at the Association of African Universities, and there's a television station. And this is quite a good platform which we can leverage on to do the best that we can for our country and for Africa. So this is why we are here. And also to contribute to the furtherance of the development of the media in Ghana, because in as much as we are coming from a situation where we want to improve, but we believe our experiences can also help reshape and remodel the way Ghanaians are doing their media business. So this is actually the space. Thank you.
We are very much welcome to Ghana. I believe you also have your own reasons for coming along.
Yeah, yeah, thank you very much. I think he has just explained it all, but just to say that we are coming from a visionary leadership at our university that wants to see us expanding, going beyond borders. When we are training our students, we don't just train students for our own country. So we are trying to find ways of cooperations, coming up with probably exchange programs between Ghana and Zimbabwe, so that at the end of the day, when we are coming up with our graduates, they are not just for Zimbabwe. They are graduates that can be absorbed all over the world, all over the continent. So these are the beginnings of giant steps being taken by our visionary leadership at Great Zimbabwe University to send us on a fact-finding mission where we try to get good practices that we can adopt and use at home, so that at the end of the day, it's the continent, it's the country that benefits from this tour.
Okay. And like I said, you guys are very much welcome to Ghana. We are glad that you decided to take time to come here to explore our media. Basically, I'll start with you, Mr. Golden Maunganize. Yes, you are a radio director in Zimbabwe. What can you tell me some of the public media houses and even private ones you have in Zimbabwe that are really huge?
Thank you very much for that. We in Zimbabwe, we do have public broadcasters. Actually, we are coming from an era where we used to have only one probably big broadcaster, public broadcaster, Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation, which is a state-run broadcaster. But of late, we have seen the government willing to start issuing out licenses to many private players across the whole country. So at the moment, in each and every big city, we have what we call private commercial radio stations. And the government has since indicated that it is willing to move a step further and give licenses to community radio stations and community television stations and so forth. This is where we are also coming in as universities, trying to find our space where we can influence development from the perspective of a campus radio. Unlike in many other countries, in Zimbabwe, we don't have campus radio stations. It is us only at the moment, Great Zimbabwe University, that has such facility, which is probably going to be a role model for other universities in the country, so that they emulate, they see how radio can be used for development in the country.
Great, sweet. Jasper, you are a lecturer at Great Zimbabwe University, and I know you know much about the media. You're a lecturer for what programs again?
Okay, media and cultural studies, but I'm more predisposed on the practicals in the media sector. So I'm there to equip our students and take them through the practicals component, the practical component of our courses. Yeah.
Can you tell us the state of the media in Southern Africa or Zimbabwe, to be precise?
Okay, the situation in Zimbabwe can be understood from the basis that we inherited a colonial media landscape, which we are still grappling with to make sure that we attune it to speak to the critical issues of the day to our citizens. So we are very happy, like Ms. Monganize said, that our government has exhibited quite quantum steps to show that they are willing to recalibrate the media landscape, to change it. And we are saying, as a media institution, we are best placed to take the foot forward in terms of changing it. Currently, we have a rural population which constitutes around 80%, who are still underserved by the media. There is both the digital and the mainstream, the traditional media divide, which is so pronounced. And who is going to take that chance to really break that divide? It's people like us at the Great Zimbabwe University, which we call also the University of Choice. So we are taking those steps to try and correct the historical anomalies, the colonial legacy that has been enmeshed on our media landscape. We are still lagging behind in terms of the broadcasting sector. And it is not only the role of the state or the government, but also the institutions like us, because our government is willing to open up the space. So we are trying to call for a rethinking of media as business. It is not only the mainstream media or the state-run or the corporate media that are supposed to take our students who are theoretically grounded to equip them with the practical skills. It is us, the universities, to equip them with the practical skills so that they contribute to the meaningful development of the country. They should go there as a whole product. So this is the situation that we are trying to change. We are also looking at the continued challenges of the social media or new media. Whilst we take new media as an opportunity for development and giving people the voice to speak, but we also see that it is becoming littered with misinformation, disinformation. It is actually what you can call the parallel market of information. And our role is not to reverse the technological gains. Our role is to make sure that as an institution, we are also on those platforms with our radio station, with our newspapers, with our television station. We should be there on the platform and try to help the citizens of Zimbabwe get factual, accurate, professional, and ethical information which is balanced. So this is the role that Great Zimbabwe is actually playing.
That's very great. That's very great. And I would want you to talk more about some of the challenges that you guys are facing. You mentioned that the government is putting in place measures to come up with a very strong media team and all of that. I want you to tell me some of the challenges that they're encountering in as much as they want to establish that.
Thank you very much for the question. Challenges are always there, especially when we are trying to move into a new territory where people probably have suspicion that the media can be misused. You know, media is a double-edged sword. Once it's in good hands, it can be used for prosperity and for good things. But it can also be destructive. We have cases where media have been used to destroy, to bring conflict, to bring accusations and prosecutions and persecutions. So the challenge that probably we have is trying to professionalize the media, to try and come up with the professional training institutions that actually give ethical and maybe what we can call maybe the foundation in terms of basics of journalism itself and the media. As my friend was saying that you would find out that the parallel market, as he said it, social media coming into play. People can try to disinform, they can try to use it to alarm, they can try to use it to bring conflict among citizens. But this is where we come in as an institution of higher learning, where we come in to assist the government, to come in and to probably demystify the use of the media and try to redirect and rechannel that the media can be used for prosperity, can be used for development. And us coming here is part of the steps that we are taking to see how we can use the media for development, taking best practices across the whole continent, taking what we can be able to chew and what we can be able to digest and help the media as a profession in the country. Because at the moment, you would find out that we did not have many media platforms. The government was not willing to license media organizations, probably based on these misconceptions and myths and certain beliefs about how the media can be misused by the people. And these were the major challenges that we were facing. But the coming in of the new government in 2017, the new dispensation, as it is called in our country, we've seen commitment from the government trying to say we are going to license many media organizations. And we're actually a step ahead as a training institution to say when these licenses come in, the people that are going to be absorbed should be well positioned, should be prepared mentally, practically, and skillfully for the positions, for the jobs that they are going to get. So that probably in the next 4 or 5 years, we see a Zimbabwean media situation which can be also emulated. We would want to see maybe people from Ghana coming to Zimbabwe to learn from us, people from other countries to learn from us. By so doing, we will be building a great continent.
Okay. Jasper, can you tell me how the media has been a very great tool for development in your country?
The media plays a critical role. Since we attained our independence, we have always tried to make sure that we give space, what we call a public sphere. We reorient it to be a space through which citizens can engage with the government. Considering also that we are living in an age of representative democracy, where we entrust our destiny into the hands of elected officials, how then do we foster a social accountability? How then do we bring checks and balances? It is this space that we call the media, which is very fundamental in terms of making sure that those who lead, they do so on the basis of mandate from the governed. So it is a space through which citizens can speak truth to power. It is a space through which those who used to be called the subjects under the colonial era are now citizens, because deliberately the colonial era did not recognize the blacks, or even geographically they were removed from where they would stay to the reserves. So even in the discursive platforms, which is the media, they were not the primary target of information, because information is a public good. Information is power. Without information, you won't make meaningful critical decisions. Let's look at elections. How do you know about the various candidates? How do you make informed decisions? Exactly. So we need people to have access to information. We have our constitution, which came into force in 2013. And Section 61 of the Constitution speaks to issues of freedom of expression in the media. Section 62 speaks to access to information. Access to information on itself is a fundamental human right. Remember also the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948, Article 19. It speaks to the deliberate steps that nation states should take in making sure that information is accessible without frontiers. So the media is a critical conduit in development. It is through the media that people can then redirect and also maybe reconnect with their leadership. So in Zimbabwe, it has played a critical role. And what is now needed is to then involve marginalized voices. We need to have marginalized discourses, like our community radio station. It is a community of interest. What is a community to us is also maybe in geographical terms, we have certain communities that have been outside the circulation of newspapers, that have been outside the reach of signal for the broadcast sector. And we want those communities to be part and parcel of the development of Zimbabwe and the development of Africa. We can also talk of community in terms of our interests. As a tertiary institution, our students have got certain interests, and more fundamentally, these interests are about education. How do we give them a space to really speak about themselves? How do we let them speak? I remember Gayatri Chakravarti Spivak, a well-known theorist, media scholar, saying that, can the subaltern speak? Can the marginalized voices find expression? And as Great Zimbabwe is saying, yes, they can find expression if we take these deliberate steps of making sure that even in the language that we use for our station, for our media, it should be the language that allows the majority of the citizens in a geographic space to speak. People think in their own primary native language first before a foreign language. So how then do you give them the voice to speak? Our constitution speaks about 16 official languages, including sign language. How, as Great Zimbabwe, are we going to make sure that some of those languages, local languages, find expression at our station and even in our media? So these are the gigantic steps and quantum challenge that we are faced with. But we can achieve them. They are not insurmountable. With these steps that we have taken, with the leadership at Great Zimbabwe, I'm telling you, we are going to have a whole new narrative about the media, not only in Zimbabwe, but in Africa.
Thank you so much. I know you at home too, you have taken a thing or two, like you said, the media perspective in Zimbabwe, they are going through a revolution and they are coming up to be bigger and better than before. If you just tune in, you are watching the CGC show on AAU TV, and my guest has been Jasper Maposa, who's a lecturer, and I have Gordon Maunganize, who is a radio director, all coming from the Great Zimbabwe University. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. My name is Naomi Dako. Until we come your way next time. Bye.